Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're going hunting for CARBINK in the Great League Remix Cup, featuring an extremely spicy Pokemon, METANG. METANG is ranked number 523 in this cup on PvPoke, so it is absolutely not a Pokemon that is recommended to run. However, due to its typing and the fact that Metal Claw, its fast move, hits for double super effective damage, it is one of the hardest CARBINK counters allowed in the format. So without further ado, let's up into the matches and go CARBINK hunting with METANG in the Great League Remix Cup. Hopping to the first match, and our target has been acquired, METANG into CARBINK. Opponent will immediately save switch into Dubwool, but we have a great response for their save switch with our Surfetched. Dubwool overfarms and allows me to reach the Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade does a lot of damage from Surfetched, so we do see Dubwool commit a shield. Dubwool looking to try and make a play for switch advantage here. They go for the Body Slam, but that's not going to KO. Surfetched is pretty glassy, but is able to hang on, and now I can shield once, farm down, and keeping switch advantage is massive because METANG absolutely obliterates CARBINK. It is one of the hardest counters to CARBINK allowed in the format, as even if CARBINK has 2 shields and METANG has 0, METANG still wins. That's how dominant of a matchup this is. And speaking of dominant matchups, in the back, they have Cresselia, and they are absolutely core broken by METANG. METANG may be the 523rd ranked Pokemon in this cup, but it is doing a number on the opponent's team. They go for the Moonblast. That does absolutely nothing. The nice thing here is no matter what charge move Cresselia is running, it's going to be resisted by METANG. Gyro Ball will be shielded. We switch into the Vigoroth, and we're able to absorb that charge move. I'm going for the Body Slam as soon as I get there, trying to get rid of the Cresselia, but my opponent does a very nice job taking advantage of the desync switch timers and catching the Body Slam onto the Rock-type CARBINK. I'm going to make it to the Bulldoze here if they try and farm down, so my opponent is going to be forced to fire off a charge move, and from here, I'm going to let METANG finish the fight. In comes METANG, these Metal Claws absolutely shredding through the CARBINK. Metal Claw gets the farm down, in comes Cresselia. They have energy, but it's not going to matter. Grass Knot connects onto METANG. METANG able to hang on and make it to the Gyro Ball. Gyro Ball takes out Cresselia, and that's a good game. Picking up a favorable lead in the next match, METANG into Toxapex. Psyshock will hit for super effective damage here. Opponent is going to farm up, save switch into Surfetched, and this is incredibly awkward for me. My opponent has an energy advantage Surfetched, which beats this entire team. So, in order to keep switch advantage, I'm going to have to give up a shield. I'm firing off the Leaf Blade here, hoping my opponent is going to let this through, and they do. They're going to sacrifice the Surfetched and bring back in the Toxapex. I'm able to make it to the Brave Bird. Brave Bird is going to hit for big damage if it lands, which it does, getting my opponent low. And now I can bring back in METANG. METANG farming up. They're firing off the Brine. Brine is not going to do a lot of damage here. It's not the strongest move ever. I continue to farm. Opponent sends in their Shadow Quagsire, and this is actually a team that I featured in yesterday's video. They no-shield the Psyshock, and that is incredibly helpful to me, as now I'm going to start applying the pressure with Vigoroth. I just need to get rid of that Shadow Quagsire, and once I do, METANG is in a prime position to close in the endgame. Mud Bomb from the Shadow Quagsire does so much damage to Vigoroth. This is going to be a bit awkward in the endgame. Mud Bomb is going to connect. I'm farming up. I don't think I can get the counter down, so I'm just going to fire off the Body Slam. Body Slam is going to be no-shielded. My opponent putting their hopes into the Toxapex, but the Toxapex is quite low on HP. Body Slam should be able to grab the shield. Switch clock is up, and I can bring in METANG. METANG is going to be able to absorb the Brine and going to be able to make it to the Psyshock, and that's going to be game over as Psyshock KOs the Toxapex. Moving into the next match, we see a very tough lead, METANG into Scrafty. Scrafty does extremely well into METANG. I'm going to farm up 7 Metal Claws and look to catch a foul play onto my Surfetched. I go for the catch, but my opponent shows great restraint, hanging on to their energy. They're actually staying in this matchup and going for the power-up punch. This tells me that Surfetched is probably really strong into their team, but I made a pretty crucial mistake. I gave them such a big energy lead that the Scrafty is going to be able to shield once, KO the Surfetched, and unfortunately, my Surfetched, which is probably very good into what they have in the back, is no longer playable. I'm going to bring in the METANG. Honestly, I had lost count, so I end up shielding. It looks like it was just a power-up punch. I get the farm down, but I have paid a heavy price, and in comes Whiscash, and now we can see why they couldn't switch with the Whiscash in the back. I'm now going to send in Vigoroth. It could potentially be Scrafty double Mudboy, which means that their entire team loses to Surfetched, but the way that I played it, unfortunately, means that I'm probably now going to lose this game. I'm firing off the Body Slam. Body Slam will be no-shielded by the Whiscash on the CMP tie. I know Mud Bomb is not going to KO, so I am going to no-shield. They should be looking to switch, and they do, and it's a Shadow Quagsire in the back, and this is going to be extremely tough. Body Slam will be no-shielded. I need to make it to the next Body Slam to grab the final shield, and then my switch clock will be up, and it's going to be a race. Can I make the Psyshock before they make the back-to-back Mud Bombs here? They have the back-to-back Mud Bombs. It's all going to come down to CMP. METANG versus Quagsire, and the Quagsire wins CMP. Absolutely heartbreaking. Mud Bomb KOs METANG, and I resign the match. Hopping into the next match, leading METANG into another CARBINK. You absolutely love to see it. Opponent is going to safe switch into Quagsire, and I respond with Surfetched. Now, even though Surfetched does have Leaf Blade that hits for double super effective damage, Quagsire is an absolute menace in this cup. And as you're going to see, Quagsire does have the pacing advantage and the energy lead, so I'm forced to tank a Mud Bomb. And Mud Bomb does so much damage to the Glassy Surfetched. Surfetched already approaching the red health. Now, the question is, will Quagsire be able to Mud Shot down and win switch? It looks like Surfetched will barely be able to hang on and make 2 more Leaf Blades, so my opponent is going to let that through, and instead, they're going to look for energy on the CARBINK. They're waiting their clock here. They're going to be sending back in the CARBINK. CARBINK looking for the Rock Throw farm down Surfetched with a sliver of HP, able to hang on, make the Leaf Blade, and Leaf Blade does quite a bit of damage. In comes METANG in the bag. It is Dubwool, and we have the battle of the fake fighters. Dubwool versus Vigoroth in the endgame. Vigoroth strikes first with the Body Slam. We see the no shield from the Dubwool. Dubwool has so much energy. They're firing off a Body Slam. I'm going to no shield. They're going for Body Slam number 2, and at this point it's low enough that I can trust in METANG to win this game. Body Slam connects. I do not make another Body Slam, but I can bring in METANG. Metal Claw down. In comes the CARBINK, and now the double super effective Metal Claws can get to work. They go for the Rock Slide. That unfortunately does absolutely nothing. METANG gets the full farm down, and that is a good game. Tough lead in the next match, METANG into Escavalier. I save switch into Surfetched. Opponent is going to respond with Politoed, and Politoed is a Pokemon that Surfetched can potentially flip switch against. Weather Ball does so much damage, but the counters are adding up, and this should be approaching Leaf Blade range. I fire off the Leaf Blade. We do see a shield from the Politoed. Politoed returning fire with the Weather Ball, as they want to grab shields back as well. I'm looking to farm up with the Surfetched here. I make it to the Leaf Blade, and I force the CMP tie. My opponent is going to double shield for switch advantage, and I'm going to let this through, because honestly, switch advantage doesn't really help me, as my team is very weak to Escav. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send in Vigoroth, and I'm going to go for a big energy lead, because hopefully I can make it to a Bulldoze versus the Escav if they send it in, and Bulldoze will hit for some solid neutral damage. In comes the Escav, and I'm able to fire off the Bulldoze here. Bulldoze does some solid damage. I'm looking to farm up. I should make it to the Body Slam, but great counting by my opponent, as they're not going to let me throw it. Drill Run will KO. I send in METANG. In the back, it's Nidoqueen, and this will come down to a dangerous game of baits and nukes. Psyshock will hit for super effective damage here, but it's not going to be enough to KO. The question is Nidoqueen going to full send? Tough call to make. I shield. Is it the Earth Power? Yes, it is. METANG gets it right, and the opponent concedes the match. Tough lead in the next match, METANG into Dunsparce. I have 2 better responses in the back, so I save switch into Surfetched, and my opponent is absolutely core broken to shreds by Surfetched. They send in Whiscash, and Whiscash is not going to be able to keep switch here. All I have to do is make sure that I don't get blizzarded. As long as I don't get blizzarded, I should be in a pretty okay spot. They go for the Mud Bomb. This, I believe, is only another Mud Bomb, so I am going to let this go. As Mud Bomb does do a lot of damage, but it's not going to be enough to KO, and I'm able to reach the back-to-back charge moves here with the Surfetched. Surfetched firing off the Leaf Blade. That is going to KO in the bag. They have Scrafty, and I just fall short of making it to the Brave Bird. Leaf Blade will get the shield, and now I'm going to send in METANG. METANG, of course, doesn't have a good matchup versus Scrafty, but at this point, I'm just using it as a damage sponge. Scrafty goes for the foul play. That gets METANG low. I farm up, wait, go for the Gyro Ball, but my opponent waits a turn as well. Incredible catch by my opponent as they catch onto the Dunsparce. I'm going to bring in the Vigoroth, and Vigoroth is looking to leave with a massive amount of energy to threaten the Scrafty. Dunsparce firing off charge move after charge move. I'm going to decide to shield here because Scrafty does not have a move. So I should be able to get the full farm down here and just leave with too much energy for this Scrafty to handle. In comes the Scrafty. I'm firing off Body Slam number 1 into the Scrafty. They make the charge move, but they do not win CMP. Vigoroth KOs with a Body Slam. And that's game over. We see a Dream Lead in the next match. METANG into Clefable. Clefable is fully walled here. Opponent save switches into an extremely spicy Pokemon. They send in Palisand, and it takes me a bit to figure out what I'm going to send in. I send in the Surfetched, shield, and get Sand Tomb baited. Things started off so promising with the lead, but it's going from bad to worse. They have enough for the Shadow Ball. I shield. It's another Sand Tomb, and just like that, I've lost switch advantage. My opponent can double shield, go for the Shadow Ball, and win switch. That is incredibly unfortunate, as now the Clefable is no longer going to be aligned against METANG. I'm able to win CMP, but they have a shield remaining. It's not going to matter. They shield, KO with the Shadow Ball, and just like that, I've lost switch. I'm going to send in Vigoroth, and my goal here is to absorb energy and just farm up till close to 100. As the nice thing is, they can't really Shadow Ball me. I'm a normal type, so they're forced to just debuff me again and again with the Sand Tomb. Sand Tomb is going to connect. I'm looking to farm up, and now I'm going for the Bulldoze. Bulldoze will be lethal. My hope is that, hopefully, I can try and catch a move from the Clefable onto the METANG. I'm farming up with the Vigoroth. Go for the catch. Great patience by my opponent, and it's a Rainy Cast form in the back. Massive props to my opponent. They are running an incredibly cool team. Now, the question will be, is can 2 Psyshocks plus Metal Claws KO? The Psyshocks, of course, hit for neutral, but unfortunately, the Metal Claws are resisted. This is going to be extremely close. I need the Metal Claw farm down to win. Psyshock connects. It's a race. Can we Metal Claw down? We cannot. Rainy Cast form, 1 HP and a dream. KOs METANG, and I have all the energy in the world on Vigoroth, but I'm only going to get to use 1 charge move as Clefable loses CMP, but that's not going to matter. They tank the Body Slam. I do not survive the Psychic, and that's a good game. Hopping into the final match, and we have the battle of Psychic Steel types, METANG versus Jirachi. Both of us clearly hunting for CARBINK, and unfortunately not finding CARBINK, but instead battling each other. I'm going to strike first, going for the Gyro Ball here. Gyro Ball is going to connect, dealing some solid damage. Opponent is going to save switch into Scrafty. Unfortunately, I don't have a Fairy type to counter it, so I'm going to send in Surfetched. They go for the Power Up Punch, their attack now boosted. I'm going to throw 5 counters and go for the Leaf Blade on the CMP tied to their second Power Up Punch. This will be lethal. Opponent is going to let that through. They send in Jirachi. Here's where having Night Slash would be nice, but unfortunately, I do not have Night Slash, and they're able to survive the Leaf Blade. I'm going to bring in METANG, because METANG is going to be walling Jirachi. They go for the Doom Desire. We tank that quite nicely. They're going for charge move number 2, and I'm looking to Metal Claw farm down here. Opponent is going to send in Shadow Quagsire. In comes the Vigoroth, and the opponent concedes a match. I thought that was the final battle. Turns out we have one more, and it's a terrible lead. METANG into Lucario. I save switch into Surfetched. Opponent is going to respond with Whimsicott, and I make the Brave Bird on the CMP tie here. Brave Bird would easily one-shot. Whimsicott forced to burn a shield, and now Surfetched's job is done. I've baited out the Whimsicott, and I've gotten shield advantage. Beautiful undercharge there by my opponent, as now they can leave with energy to threaten METANG. I send in METANG, and I'm just looking for the full Metal Claw farm down here, as they're going to be firing off Seed Bomb after Seed Bomb in this matchup. I continue to farm. They're firing off another charge move. They go for the Seed Bomb here. I continue to farm. Opponent is going to give up switch, and they don't send in the Lucario. I saw the Steel typing, so I threw the Psyshock, but that's not a Lucario. That's a Steelix. And that's an unfortunate waste of a Psyshock there, as now Vigoroth is going to need to do a lot of the heavy lifting in this game. I continue to farm up here. I'm going for the bulldoze. Body Slam will not KO. I'm hoping they call the bait, and they do. That's going to KO. Now, I'm debuffed here from the Psychic Fangs. The question is, can I live the counters? In comes Lucario. Vigoroth with 1 HP. Hangs on, makes the Body Slam, and that's a game-winning Body Slam. All I have to do is watch for a catch. I keep farming. They go for the catch. They do not get it. And that's game over. Lucario wins CMP. I can use my first shield of the match. It's a close combat. What a cool moveset from the opponent. But unfortunately for them, Psyshock KOs Lucario. And that is a good game. All in all, I had a ton of fun getting to run METANG. In my view, METANG is a really solid candidate for a move update in future seasons. One of the main reasons it's ranked so lowly is its fast move Metal Claw is just absolutely awful in Pokemon Go. So I would really like seeing in a future season if it got a refresh in terms of its moveset. Definitely a new fast move, but possibly some new charge moves as well. But in the interim, definitely not a Pokemon that I would recommend for climbing. Definitely more of just a meme, but a meme that happens to hard counter CARBINK. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support guys provide is sincerely appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.